She's 69 years young, 30 years sober, and 4 marriages in. You may only know Adrienne Banfield Norris as Jada Pinkett Smith's mom, but there's more behind this Smith family member. The age gap between Jada Pinkett Smith and Adrienne Banfield Norris isn't large. Banfield Norris had Pinkett Smith when she was just 17 years old. According to an episode of Red Table Talk dubbed The Invincible Black Women Epidemic, Banfield Norris faced discrimination during her delivery. Even though her father was a senior doctor at the facility, even that didn't protect her from victimization. Her pain was downplayed by those tending to her. Nevertheless, Banfield Norris had to be there for Pinkett Smith, a task that wasn't easy. Parenting at such a young age was a nightmare for the new mom, as she revealed on Red Table Talk, saying,
"They were the worst years of my life.
Wow.
Worst years of my life."
Why?
Because I was just so confused.
Because of this difficulty, Banfield Norris and Pinkett Smith did not have a close relationship, and in fact had one devoid of touch. Pinkett Smith instead found comfort in her grandmother. Unfortunately, when she was 13, her grandmother died. Pinkett Smith then shared she had to re-raise herself, revealing, "Her house was safe, and so once she was gone, there was no safety. So then, I went into the world and created my own safety." Adrienne Banfield Norris's woes didn't end at parenting Jada Pinkett Smith as a teenager. She equally had to endure an abusive relationship with Pinkett Smith's own father.
I knew that my mother and my father had a very violent relationship.
The sit-down about their relationship was one of the most requested topics for the Red Table Talk women at the time of shooting. It was also significant because it'd been the first time Willow Smith heard these stories about her grandfather. Asked what was the worst incident she experienced at the hands of Robsaw Pinkett Jr., Adrienne Banfield Norris said,
Oh, there was so many.
Really?
Yeah, like I have a scar on my back
Well, that's
now.
when I...
The mark, according to Pinkett Smith, was from when her father threw Banfield Norris over a banister. These acts of violence often happened when Pinkett Jr. was intoxicated. Ironically, Banfield Norris's mother worked as a social worker and had told her to stay away from Pinkett Jr. during their first meeting. When the beating worsened and Banfield Norris finally had enough, she ran away to save her life. Prior to being a familiar face on Red Table Talk, Adrienne Banfield Norris was a practicing nurse. She had graduated top of her class from Coppin State University and worked her way through the profession for a solid 35 years for the New York Times. But on Red Table Talk, she was thrust into unfamiliar territory. It definitely changed her life, starting with its conception way back in 2013, when the first video was unofficially posted on YouTube. The show's official pilot episode, which aired in 2018, was an in-depth exploration of motherhood. Jada Pinkett Smith thought highly of her mother's career shift. As she said in an interview with Harper's Bazaar, "As a woman, it's such an amazing story because women feel like as they get older, their lives are over. It's not. It's never over. I don't care how old you think you're getting. My mother is 65, and her first freaking photo shoot is freaking Harper's Bazaar." Banfield Norris validated Pinkett Smith's sentiments during a 2018 episode of Red Table Talk, mentioning that the platform allowed her to explore her own internal self more easily. She continues to grow a massive social media following to the tune of over 500,000 on Instagram and has gone on to find her own voice through her Positively Gam podcast. In a talk with best-selling author Michael Pollan, Adrienne Banfield Norris opened up about her struggle with self-acceptance. As an adult, she had to deeply reflect on why she constantly didn't feel good enough. It had nothing to do with her childhood or upbringing, she explained on her podcast Positively Gam. Rather, she felt it was innate to who she was as a person. Banfield Norris brought to light that confidence wasn't her strongest suit, saying,
"I had very low self-esteem and very insecure. I didn't do anything that my sister didn't do."
This kind of thinking often prevented her from moving forward, so much that she felt dwarfed at Red Table Talk. Being at the table with her daughter and granddaughter, who are so articulate in front of the camera, only heightened her levels of insecurity, adding in another episode of her podcast.
Sometimes I'm sitting at the table and I actually shrink. Yeah. Right? And I can't find my voice. I can't find my words to fit into the conversations.
Being ushered into the limelight meant that Adrienne Banfield Norris's private life would undergo a drastic change. All of a sudden, the genuineness of the people around her became questionable. By virtue of being Jada Pinkett Smith's mother and a regular on the Emmy Award-winning show Red Table Talk, she attracted all sorts of people from all walks of life. Unfortunately, some of them didn't have the best of intentions, as she shared on Red Table Talk.
And even for me as an adult, you know, you want to believe that people want to be your friend because they like you.
Similarly, Banfield Norris's granddaughter, Willow Smith, was vocal about the challenges of being famous, including a stalking experience she faced that lasted a number of years and resulted in a break-in. As such, Banfield Norris and her family take the enforcement of boundaries seriously, with fans and strangers alike. In fact, they take security so seriously that when a drone was spotted at the Smiths' residence in March 2022, the Los Angeles Police Department swung into action. While Jada Pinkett Smith and Willow Smith tend to bring a more modern approach to Red Table Talk, Adrienne Banfield Norris has always kept a reserved demeanor, although she tries to have an open mind. During an episode titled "Why Are Women Mean to Each Other?", Banfield Norris admitted to having a level of bias, saying,
And that's where a lot of the judgment comes from. The judgment comes from insecurity, yes, but it also comes with this false thinking that I have in my head that my way is right.
At the table, a number of uncomfortable topics have come up in the past, many of which Banfield Norris had a tough time navigating. When Willow opened up about adopting a polyamorous lifestyle in 2021, her grandmother took a tolerant approach. Later in the episode, however, when polyamory activist Gabrielle Smith came to the table, Banfield Norris said she found the concept confusing. Her more conservative nature was further tested when sex was discussed on Red Table Talk. She expressed her desire to leave Willow out of the discussion, but Pinkett Smith overruled her. Banfield Norris expressed,
I'm going to pray on it. God help us all.
Adrienne Banfield Norris once revealed on Red Table Talk that for most of her daughter's childhood, she was a heroin addict. Her daughter, Jada Pinkett Smith, wasn't blind to it all either. Pinkett Smith revealed it all on Red Table Talk, saying,
I could tell when my mother was high. Or she's nodding off, falling asleep in the middle of something. You just realize, oh, that's not being tired. That is like a drug problem.
As of now, according to the New York Times, Banfield Norris is making up for lost time. She bought a home in Los Angeles, California, with her fourth husband, Rodney Norris. During the coronavirus pandemic, Banfield Norris has also spent her days staying fit and working on her continued sobriety by meeting with sobriety groups online. Banfield Norris's active lifestyle is splashed all over her Instagram account. During a Smith family intervention on Red Table Talk, the doctor's analysis showed that Banfield Norris was, in fact, one of the healthiest amongst the family, so much that he thought her age was a typo. Having been vocal about her journey to get clean, she paused to reflect and let her followers in on her journey with a reflective video on Instagram.
I've spent so many years in that insanity of active addiction, running in and out, and just that revolving door, trying to get my life back together.
While Banfield Norris has been sober since the 90s, the strain on her relationship with her daughter remains. In an interview with the New York Times, Banfield Norris shared, I think people have this idea that Jada and I are so close and it's this amazing mother-daughter relationship. It absolutely is not, and I don't think that we've ever tried to portray it that way. In her own life, Banfield Norris intentionally opted to stay as far away from baby mama drama as she could, disclosing on Red Table Talk,
I've not had to deal with it because I purposely dated men that did not have children.
Despite her lack of baby drama, Adrienne Banfield Norris is pretty experienced with marriage. She first tied the knot with Robsol Pinkett Jr. when she was in high school. The union was a result of the strictness of her traditional family. As she explained to Dear Media Studio in a 2021 interview,
that marriage only lasted for about a year.
Her second marriage began when Jada Pinkett Smith was 8 years old. After 4 years, however, the couple called it a day. While her third marriage took off at the onset of her recovery journey and was her longest lasting, it didn't last forever. After 20 years, it had taken a turn for the worst. She added to Dear Media Studio,
I was unhappy in the marriage, and I just really started thinking that, I have more years behind me than I do in front of me. And I gotta be happy.
Now, when it comes to her fourth and current marriage, it goes way back. The love story between Rodney Norris and Banfield Norris goes back to 30 years to be specific. The pair had dated when they were younger, but weren't in the right mindset to make it work.
When we came back together 30 years later, she was a totally different person. And I was too.
That definitely seems to be the case, and the loved-up couple appears to be plenty happy together, sharing their affection for one another on social media. If you or anyone you know is struggling with addiction issues, help is available. Visit the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration website or contact SAMHSA's National Helpline at 1-800-662-HELP. That's 1-800-662-4357.